All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. We're gonna check its local and city searches and see if they got BSS for any of them. And we're back here in the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. Our North Star weapon of choice is FSIC full spectrum intent capture. More info on that, pin video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph actually in white here. Highest intent people on the left, these people using social search, Google search. They're searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. Focused on talking about these peeps. When we're talking about BSS videos here. Way over on the right, these are the lowest intent peeps. They ain't searching for boudoir, and they basically have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. Talk about that on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. And right now we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. Now, boudoir search same as BSS is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. 0 slots is bad because that means 0 slots page 1 means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market. And this is a recipe for our business to be dying super fast. And if we got 1 slot on page 1, that ain't good either. But it's not good enough because, there's 10 organic slots page 1 on Google. We got 1 slot that says there's 9 other boudoir photographers. Everyone's got 1 slot. Everyone looks the same. Nobody's standing out. So what's a buyer doing? They're clicking down everyone's website, opening up everyone's, contact form, filling out every contact form, getting a quote from everyone, getting, price shopping and the best deal for them, wasting everyone's time, blah, 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 blah. So we never want to have BSS boudoir search sameness. In both scenarios, yeah, we'll get contact forms if we got 1 slot, but like most of those people ain't going with us. It's only a 10% chance to go with us. So, just kind of real frustrating. That leads to the business dying as well. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 Google search is actually not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are A, market saturation. Basically everyone knows what that is. Simply more boudoir photographers entering the market over time. And when that happens, people getting new iPhones or new cameras, they enter the marketplace. They're throwing up their Google Maps profile saying they do boudoir photography. They're throwing up their website saying they're now a boudoir photographer. They're posting them on mom groups on Facebook saying they do boudoir photo shoots. And that's more sellers for the same number of buyers. Makes it harder and harder for every seller to make a sale and kind of get those clients. Also happened in a big way with COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, forced a lot of people. Well, they still need to earn money. They still got to go get money. And so everyone's got a super powered smartphone with ultra camera. So easiest thing for them to do, become boudoir photographers. Now, the false face belief of page 1 inequality, that one's new. And as a result, we actually, this is where boudoir photographers actually originally believed that, kind of just automatically believe without even questioning, kind of that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google. But that's how, let's say they're on page 1 slot 9 with their website, some market saturation, now they're on page 2 slot 3, and they're kind of like, well, that's simply how it happens. And hopefully those peeps that are now ranking me, delete their website and Google de-indexes them. So maybe Google will pull me back up on page 1. But no, this is 100% incorrect thought. This is the, let it happen to me thought. We actually want to be, let's make it happen thought, which is what I did. I actually went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days with this new methodology we invented. And, proving that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief, because we actually learned Google will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want to put in the effort to acquire. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. So again, BSS, boudoir search sameness, 0 1 slots, page 1 Google search. And if we got 0 slots, then we are, basically we're disappearing, or invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we got 1 slot on page 1, we're still basically invisible. There's only a 10% chance someone's going to convert on us compared to everyone else. So both disappearing boudoir photographers make us disappearing boudoir photographers. And it's kind of like the warning light, the flashing flag, the whatever, the canary in the coal mine, that our boudoir photography business is now on the path to disappearing as well. But thankfully, we've discovered the solution to this S-cubed methodology. We've discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And I mean, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. So we show up there. And what that acts as is basically like the snow up at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America, snow on the eastern side, the backside of those Andes Mountains. And what happens is, that snow melts over time. The water flows into small streams, small rivers. But eventually all that melted snow collects down into the Amazon River. And that's page one Google search, the Amazon River. So basically everything, all this social search saturation stuff we do actually then flows onto page one of Google search if we do execute our SQ methodology correctly. And what's interesting about this, it's the only solution for boudoir photographers I've seen that actually allows them to increase actually gives them a chance to still grow the business in the face of massive market saturation and gives them that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other solution I've seen that gives that same benefit is having a large, well-known brand, but we all know that takes like 5 to 10 years to build. And so that doesn't satisfy our relatively quick criteria. We need the relatively quick criteria because, dude, AI's here. AI is taking people's jobs. We don't have 5 to 10 years to build a brand. Ultra market saturation is coming for boudoir photographers. We gotta basically fortify ourselves before that happens. And an example here, actually two other things. First interesting thing is SQ methodology. It's just the way it works, allowing us to show up with such a high frequency on so many different surfaces. My estimate is it actually enables a large, well-known brand to be built 8x faster than normal conventional methods. So it's kind of like utilize SQ methodology for initial wins, get a brand in the future, and then imagine if you get a large, well-known brand and you continue to use SQ methodology in the future. I mean, you're basically going to be unbeatable. Now, one example here, we're going to say we are in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Minneapolis-St. Paul, Minnesota, and the Twin Cities. And there's 1 million boudoir photographers there. And with those 1 million boudoir photographers, we are one of them. Everyone's got a boudoir photography website, trying to rank page one on Google. Ultra competition. And as a result, we're like, well, we ain't got no large brand. And we ain't got time to create a brand. So our only shot here to compete is utilizing SQ methodology. And so, dude, let's say we super crank this SQ methodology, and we take the first 300 slots, page one on Google search, or first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords across social search. And then those flow onto, let's say allows us to take up the first 300 slots, page one on Google search. And it's 10 organic slots per page on Google. So we're taking out the first 30 pages. So guess what? Anyone in our city is actually, is actually searching anywhere, social search or Google search for boudoir photo shoot, boudoir photographer, whatever, the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, we're basically the only one they're going to be finding, even though our market's ultra saturated. And so whose business is going to be growing during this time? Most likely ours. And whose business is going to be declining and like dying? Most likely the 999,999 other boudoir photographers in the city. And so, this is kind of a interesting example of what SQ methodology could enable, kind of at the ultra extreme end. But hey, finally, we got a shot here. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. And initial benefit, more slots, page one Google search. That's cool. The other initial benefit, every new slot we get page one Google search, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible. A lot of boudoir photographers love this one. Basically, can push their competitors to page two and deeper, and effectively making them visible to approximately 80% of searches, invisible to approximately 80% of the market, which, I mean, this is an awesome initial benefit. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. And this is where the GBC universe recommends hitting the 3 out of 10 minimum, 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google search minimum. because basically everyone else is going to have one slot. If we got 3, we're dominating them. And the ultra rare someone has 2 slots on page 1. Well, we're going to have 3. We're still dominating them. So 3, 3 out of 10, and that 3 out of 10 minimum is really the best for all scenarios. Obviously, it's the best to get even higher, but 3 out of 10 is kind of the minimum where we want to get to. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. People thought they simply had to accept having 0 and 1 slots page 1 on Google. 100% incorrect. We now know that. We developed a solution, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page 1 visibility. We become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. All right, my results now utilizing S-cubed methodology. For myself, I wanted to take over page 1 on Google for this search term, BLCS boudoir. So I utilize S-cubed methodology to see my results. And let's see, so we got Instagram, organic slot 1, me. Organic slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I searcher for this, who they going with, who they clicking on, obviously me. I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, in only 10 days. So these are my results I got utilizing S-cubed methodology. All right, now main event here, we're going to check this boudoir photography business. I'm going to check out its local search and its city search. See if they got BSS for either local or their city search, and also see if they're hitting the GBC recommended minimums, 3 out of 10 slots for each. So we're going to Hampton, Virginia, and Newport News, Virginia. All right, let's head over there now. Hampton, Virginia, it's no data. All right, so let's see what we got. Go to organic. So boom, we got one. Let's see what else. Let's see. All right, so we got one. So we got 1 out of 10 for local. Yeah. All right, so 1 out of 10 for local. And now let's check city. Let's see. And 1 out of 10 for city. All right, so for both. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 for both. And so that means we got BSS for both of them. And we're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search for either of them. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local searches, your city searches with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, and you have seen you've had BSS for at least one of them. So, you're at 0 or 1 slots, page 1 Google search for, those terms, or at least one of those terms. Or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search for any of the local or city searches, any of those keyword highest intent boudoir buyer keyword searches. And you've accepted the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. So you're seeing, hey, I can actually take as many page 1 slots on Google search as I want for as many keywords as I want, and I don't have to sit around and wait and hope Google, people leave the market and Google is nice enough to put me on page 1. And you're seeing that S-cubed methodology is the only way to get you there, actually get you those extra slots page 1 in Google. And you're liking the initial benefits, more slots page 1 in Google. You really like the second initial benefit, which is basically kicking your competitors off. You're basically getting to decide who becomes a disappearing boudoir photographer and whose business boudoir photography business starts to disappear by dominating page 1 Google search. You also understand market saturation, and you are, people eventually get more gear. The market becomes more saturated, and as a result, you are looking ahead, saying, man, AI is taking people's jobs right now. AI is going to be taking more and more people's jobs into the future as AI gets better and better. And you're like, man, I don't simply need these links on Google, page 1 Google. I actually have to fortify my page 1 position. So no current boudoir photographers in my area can ever rank page 1. And also no future boudoir photographers that come from AI taking our jobs can ever rank page 1. Basically, I need to have so many links of my links Google wants to rank on page 1 that they're actually backstacking me to page 2, 3, and 4. And you're actually deciding that the best way to get all these links, again, S-cubed methodology, get all these backstack of links on all these future pages. And really actually fortify your position, kind of like the levees in Nolens, Louisiana. It's kind of fortifying the walls against the ocean because the city is below water. So your SQL methodology is the only solution for that. And you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, have boudoir search visibility because you need these things on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you're also liking the future benefits of SQL methodology, or basically you understand that as we execute SQL methodology successfully every single day, we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns that are like plugged into your kind of like your cluster, your brand name, your business name, your social handles names, kind of like plugging these invisible thematic keyword columns in. And every day we build that up, we're increasing the probability that you are the one recommended up here, the AI overview and search, because you're just building up so much authority, repetition, relevance, age, with all these different keywords, the size, intent, boudoir buyer keywords. And so you actually want, you want that increased probability percentage every day of being recommended here, because it also comes with increased probability of being recommended through all the AI searches, all the AI search apps. We're building up this like massive backend AI keyword search momentum. It's invisible, but every day it builds and builds and builds. And so that's ChatGPT, that is Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. These are getting more and more popular every single day, increasing search volume every single day, with Google standard search, basically decreasing every single day. And last time I did boudoir photographer search in a city, I used ChatGPT. It returned me 3. I actually did a manual search with Google and Facebook, and dude, I found like 60. So it's like, man, we gotta, we gotta find any way possible to get AI search to recommend us, and you realize an SQL methodology is the best way to get these invisible thematic keyword columns built around your brand, your business, your names, all that. You're also like the future benefit of, kind of building your large, well-known brand in your area, making it harder for market saturation to ever affect you approximately 8x faster, utilizing SQL methodology. And you also understand my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer for your city. So you actually you get all these benefits, kicking your competitors off page one, and your competitors actually not being able to use these benefits, and you actually build up a large, massive gap in front of them, ahead of them, with these invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of this keyword backend AI keyword mindshare momentum that you'll be able to achieve, and not your competitors. And that's the reason you decide to be a first mover, adopting this technology, because you understand the converse. If your competitor is the first mover instead, then what actually happens is, they're getting all their links to page one, they're kicking you off page two, off page one, onto page two, maybe on page three, and fortifying their position so you can basically never get on page one again. Taking all the slots, showing up social search, so you're basically become unfindable. And then we're actually, building up that massive gap AI backend keyword mindshare way ahead of you, maybe to big enough where you can never even catch up. And what actually happens is, for you to compete, you would actually have to rederive SQL methodology, or actually derive it yourself for the first time. You would never actually be 100% confident you've derived it correctly. And then you'd have to equal our execution every single day. And then if you did that, you'd simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor have already built up against you, because we'd still be executing it every day. So in order to close that gap, you'd have to out execute us, 2 or 3x every single day to begin pulling it back to back-end AI keyword mindshare momentum from me and your competitor back towards yourself. But again, you wouldn't have 100% confidence even putting in the time to do that, because you would never actually know if you've derived this technology correctly in the first place. And you're saying dude, who would even have 80 hours per day to do all this anyways? So you decide, screw that. You've decided you're going to be the first mover of your city. You decide you don't want to miss out on this. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. Our DMs are currently closed. The hospital is currently closed to new patients. But if you want, but when we do open, no, even if you want to contact us, you cannot. Even if you want to work with us right now, you cannot. But when we do open the hospital for new patient intake, it will be announced. Shoot us a DM then, and then we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S-cubed methodology.